Now, you've probably heard of Steam Spy. It provides pretty interesting and sometimes valuable data on Steam. And apparently the owner of the system, Sergey Golonkin, whose name I probably just butchered, so please forgive me, will no longer be accepting developers' requests to remove their games from the service. Instead, all data collected from the platform will be included on Steam Spy, even on games whose studios previously asked for the information to not be made available. So basically, this all happened when a string of tweets on the Steam Spy account earlier explained the decision to overturn the previously honoured requests and restore all previously removed games. Now, apparently this move was sort of brought on by some messages from Techland, and that is according again to the Steam Spy owner. And he said, quote, "Techland requested the removal of their games as well. Should us just stop honouring these requests?" Now, he has responded to previous messages from publishers, such as say Squad for Kerbal Space Program and Paradox for Stellaris and Pillars of Eternity, asking for their games to be removed from the data collector. And apparently Sergey has now decided that he's just going to ignore those requests, and games from both these studios and other studios are now going to be included on Steam Spy, showing how many Steam users have purchased and played them. But apparently, it's nothing against Techland or any of these other studios. Instead, he is saying that including data from all games is meant to be a quote-unquote valuable lesson. Now, he spoke to Polygon saying, quote, "The point of Steam Spy is to be a helpful tool for game developers, removing several important independent games from the service will hurt everyone else while not necessarily benefiting from the publishers of the removed games." Now, obviously, Sergey has made no allusions to the fact that Steam Spy is not 100% accurate. It's not affiliated with Valve, and is basically estimating how many units a game has sold every period of time for user data, yada yada yada. So while the service is fairly accurate, there is always a margin for error with Steam Spy. This is not official Valve figures or anything like that. And according to Sergey, quote, "It's not a sales tracking service, it's merely a polling service that estimates the number of owners by polling user profiles. It's a bit like an election survey." Now, despite the fact that it's not official, naturally there are developers who are not best pleased that their games have been returned to the platform after having been removed after Sergey followed their requests. Now, the reason they might be a bit upset, it might be sort of best explained by what Paradox had to say, who basically called the figures on Steam Spy, quote, "wildly off at times." And back in June, Shams Jorjani of Paradox tweeted, quote, "I've met countless devs that showed me flawed business plans hinging entirely on the owner's figures reported by Steam Spy on competitor." So basically what they're saying is people looked at their competitors' data on Steam Spy, that information is inaccurate, and they were based a whole business plan around data that wasn't 100% accurate, which again is no secret for Steam Spy that is not 100% accurate. Use it as a basis to be like, alright, this is a rough indication of what our competitor is doing, how the users are reacting, that sort of thing, but don't base a whole thing around it. Use it as a launch pad, I'd say, is a valuable way to use the Steam Spy data. But despite the fact that developers are not particularly happy about Sergey's move to restore all games onto the service, he's not actually worried about possible legal retribution from any studios or publishers, and again compared the move to politics. And he said, quote, "Imagine if Trump would ask everyone to stop publishing polls because they make him look bad and diminish his negotiating power. And honestly, if you believe your bargaining power lies in the ability to lie about your game's data, you don't understand negotiations. So I'd like to avoid being sued by publishers for estimating the number of their game's owners. I don't believe they have a case here." I don't know about that because I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to even pretend to understand US law because it's incredibly complex. Barely understand UK law sometimes. But it does seem they're definitely going to upset a few people. But again, he makes no allusions as to the accuracy of his data, and he is simply making publicly available information sort of more viewable and putting it into easily understandable charts and just displaying, look, these are roughly the amount of users, roughly how much this game is made, etc. You know, you can go on the top 100 currently played games on Steam. You can go to Steam charts as well and have a look as to how things are doing. He's not the only one doing this. Steam Spy is just generally used as a sort of indication of a game's success on Steam, but it should by no means be taken as gospel. You know, unless it comes from the developer or publisher themselves, you should always take Steam Spy as a pinch of salt. And again, I keep saying this, but he makes no secret of that, so he's probably right that they don't have much of a case, but I might be telling a different story in a few months when he's being sued, but let's hope it doesn't come to that, because Steam Spy is quite useful for judging how much of a player base, say, a multiplayer game has. Like, say, oh, I want to buy this multiplayer game, but I don't know if there's some players to actually reasonably get a game. Let's have a look on Steam Spy. Oh, it's actually got so-and-so roughly amount of players. Okay, oh, I feel safer in purchasing this now. But I don't think it really super comes into purchasing decisions. I think most people are going to look there, look on Steam charts, perhaps ask around on Reddit or what have you, and make their decision there. I don't think anyone's going to look at Steam Spy wholly and decide from that. But even if they do, the information is still publicly available. So, yeah. Anyway, that's me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.